Welcome to episode 20 of today's Candor. I'm your host, Barika. Thank you so much, as always, for taking the time to tune in. In this episode, I'm discussing accountability. Yes, accountability. Accountability for yourself, your actions, accountability for others, holding them responsible, accountability partners, all things accountability. And I want to start off by reading the definition of accountability from Google, the AI overview it is referred to. Before I read that definition, if you follow me on Instagram, my latest reel, my latest dose of candor is about accountability and what that definition is. So if you haven't checked it out already, go on my Instagram at Today's Candor Podcast and go ahead and check that out and share with those who you think will benefit from it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into this discussion. So what is accountability? The definition on Google. Accountability is the state of being responsible for one's actions or accepting responsibility for them. It can be personal or public, and it often involves being transparent and having consequences for unacceptable actions. Let me read that first part one more time before we dive into this. Accountability is the state of being responsible for one's actions or accepting responsibility for them. So, what does accountability look like to you? What does it mean to you? How do you hold others accountable? Do you do that at all? Because sometimes we don't, and then things will fall back on us that necessarily shouldn't have. So let's start with ourselves first. Just a personal check-in, a reflection, a self-evaluation. Are we holding ourselves accountable in whatever realms and different aspects of our lives? Are we holding ourselves accountable? Whether there are personal pieces that we need to check in on. Are we, if it's going to the gym, if you've just started a new fitness journey, are you holding yourself accountable when you say that you might want to implement a better diet? Maybe there are things you want to cut out of your diet. Anything. Are you holding yourself accountable? Not being on social media as much, not just sitting and scrolling your life away because it's doing nothing for you. Yes, sometimes we just want to sit and maybe do something that we don't need to have so much thought put into it, things of that nature. Of course, we all need time to decompress, whatever the case may be. Decompressing is different for everyone. But if your go-to habit is just scrolling through social media and you're saying what you're not getting done, accountability. Are you holding yourself accountable? Being able to just say, okay, I know that I need to be doing XYZ. I'm not doing that, but in turn, I'm complaining about what's not getting done. So let's go ahead and stop blaming, pointing the finger at whatever else is taking place, whether it's a person or things, quote unquote, getting in your way. But is that the truth? Is it just you need to go ahead and have a little bit of better control and time management? Holding yourself accountable. Holding others accountable. Sometimes this can be a little difficult. And before I go into holding others accountable, just another example of just being able to hold yourself accountable, maybe like in the workplace, you might have made a mistake, whether it's you caught it on your own or somebody else had to come to you and just say, hey, I noticed this. How can we fix it? Being able to once again just say, oh, I'm sorry, my bad, I apologize. However, let me go ahead and fix that. It doesn't have to be a whole thing. It doesn't have to be a mountain out of a molehill. But sometimes just something as simple as saying, my bad, let me look that over. Let me fix it. Let me resolve it. Sometimes that can go ahead and clear the air. It's just that simple. But you have some people who would rather, instead of just saying, hey, my mistake, I was either working too quickly through my routine or I overlooked it by mistake. They want to make up all this other stuff. And now where are we? So just being able to be a mature adult and say, my bad, let me go ahead and check myself on that. Holding others accountable. How do you do that? What does that look like for you? And write these things down. Write these things down so that if it is something that is difficult for you to do, if you don't feel that you are very good or it's not something that comes easy to you, when you have to hold others accountable, write down when you have had to do it. How does it make you feel? How do you think you can implement this more if you need to do so? Are you just letting things slide because you're like, I don't want to cause any tension. I don't want to do this. I want to avoid it because of, yes, I get it. I get it. When you're not a controversial person, it can be difficult to hold others accountable. I understand. I despise tension, despise controversy, the going back and forth, the this and I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And there have been times where I'm like, oh, is there a way that I can avoid having to, maybe call someone up on the carpet because it was something that they did and not myself. And being able to have those uncomfortable conversations, approach, communication. I have spoken about this in some of my previous episodes. It's all about your approach. It's all about how you're communicating it. Not always what you say, how you say it, your tone, your delivery. But are you holding others accountable? When you feel that somebody has made a mistake or has hurt your feelings or just something else that you did not like, something that you feel like somebody brought to your attention and you're like, hey, good example. If there is someone who is always coming to you complaining about everything in their world, everything, nothing is right, nothing can be done right. And if they don't want to look at the pieces that might be on them, being able to just say to someone, hey, hello, do you feel that you're in that boat because of your decisions? And people don't like to do that. Self-reflection, looking in the mirror, just being able to sit down and say, hey, yeah, that's on me because I decided to do this. Being able to just, check yourself. It goes back into that first piece that I just spoke about. And sometimes we have to be able to tell friends, family members, whoever, significant others, spouses, we have to be able to tell people, hey, you're always, if this is, like I said, a person coming to you complaining all the time, because once you get past like the first one or two times, it's no longer venting. It's no longer trying to get it off your chest. Now you're complaining. And what are you doing to fix, change, solve, whatever? What are you doing to fix the issue or whatever it is that you're complaining about? What are you doing? And I tell people you need to ask yourself that. So you have to have, not only you need to hold yourself accountable, but if you have someone who is constantly coming to you with all of their woe is me and sob stories and playing the little violin, you need to be able to ask them, and you don't have to be mean about it. It's no need. But being able to ask them, hey, have you thought about just those decisions you made and how it's landed you here in the present? And if that person doesn't like you calling them out, so be it. But being able to tell other people, hey, look at what you're doing. Look at the decision-making process, your thought process. And it's not always a comfortable conversation, but there are conversations that need to be had. And I've told people, if you do not want my opinion or advice, don't come ask me. But don't come ask me something. And once again, this may be your 10,000th time complaining about the same thing, but you've literally not even taken a half a step to try to fix something. But you want to keep on, I'm tired of this and sick of this and sick of that. And this is this. Okay, well, I'm just going to say to you two things. One, you're not going to keep talking to me about the same thing. That's one. Because that's not seeping into my world. I'm not allowing that energy to seep into my energy. Absolutely not. But also, if I've given you some advice, I'm not saying that you had to take and use and apply the advice, but it's like, I've given you, I gave you what I had. What else do you want me to do? And have you changed or started to take steps towards what it is that you want to change? It's that simple. I get it may not always be right away. We are human. We have feelings. emotions, all these things that sometimes can hinder us from acting on something right away. And of course, you want to think it out, process it. But it's like there's absolutely no way that you can complain about the same exact thing for a year and not in one of those 365 days did you figure out what else you need to do to change whatever it is that you're complaining about. Accountability. Write it down. Fix it. Figure it out. Clear your head. But anyone who knows me well enough, they know do not come to me with the same shenanigans and think that I'm going to keep repeating the same advice. Absolutely not. I'm going to tell you, what did I tell you last time? And I'm not doing the I told you so once the you know what hits the fan. I'm not that person. I'm not that friend. That's not my character. You know if you kept doing something silly, I've told you, hey, you might want to open your eyes a little wider. And you didn't. But once I tell you a couple times, you need to figure it out. Look at what you're doing. Write down the issue. Write down what's going to change it. And you're just sitting there like, oh, it's okay. And you're in la la land. You're going to be in la la land by yourself. Because once I hold you accountable a couple times and I say my piece, I'm not going to keep saying my piece. I have other things that I need to do. We are not getting younger. Good day. So, my next piece, accountability partners. They can be great if they're doing what they said they're going to do. But one thing's for certain and two things for sure. When you do not keep your word with me, I begin to not trust you. And depending on how crazy the situation was, all trust has been lost. All trust has been lost. It may not just be like, oh, just a little piece because here you go. So that accountability partner thing is great. But I feel like sometimes people do it because it's the cool thing to do. It's trending. My friend has one, so I need one too. Huh? What is that? Like, how old are you? We're not on the playground anymore. My friend has this jump rope, so I need it too. No, what you need to do is sit down and be able to evaluate some things on your own and figure out what you need to do. Everything is not always about including somebody else and having them hold you accountable. And I said this in my latest reel. You have people who want to claim these accountability partners, or you'll have the person who wants to be the accountability partner saying, oh, let's do this. I'll do this for you. I'll check in and make sure that you're working out or eating better or reading daily and doing this, waking up on time. And then themselves, these people who are saying that what they're going to do, they can't figure out their lives on a day-to-day basis to save their life. If they had a sticky note posted to their forehead, they couldn't figure it out. And then you're offering to be somebody's what now? Accountability partner. Baby cakes, you can't get your own self together. You can't manage yourself on a daily basis. You don't need to do anything for me. And see, people like that, those type of people, I don't keep around me anyway. Those shifty, finicky, frivolous type of folks. Those people who talk a good game, what they think they can do, and not doing it for themselves. I see right through you. Spare me. And as I never call any names, but yeah, there's a couple people who we are not even nearly as tight as we used to be because they talk a good game. And as my precious mommy says, if the shoe fits, wear it. For those of you who don't know what that means, it means if you think that's what or who I'm talking about, then I am. If you feel a way about it, that's your business. But yeah, there are a couple people who used to be in my world very close. But when you cannot maintain and manage what you need to be doing for yourself, you have nothing to offer me. Why? Why would I even think so? So let's stop this whole accountability partner foolishness just for the sake of saying it. I've had people say to me, hey, Barika, I want to start working out more. Can we be each other's accountability partners? Hell no. I'm good on that. Thank you. And I don't want to do it for a couple reasons. One, I could tell I knew the person was full of themselves. Stop. Please stop. Two, I don't need anybody calling me every day talking about, did you do this? Did you work out today? Did you get on your indoor bike? Did you get on your treadmill? Did you squat today? I don't need you doing that. I just don't. One thing about me, I'm disciplined. So I'm going to handle what I need to handle. And I'm about my business. And I don't want anybody, and I'm not calling somebody talking about, did you do XYZ today? I'm not. I have my own things that I'm taking care of. Call it selfish, call it whatever. Yes, I have been in a place before where I was making sure everybody did what they thought they were supposed to be doing. I've come out of that space. And I came out of that space because those people were unappreciative of it, unappreciative of those check-ins. See, people want to doctor it up and sugarcoat it and make it all pretty. Accountability partner is somebody who's just checking in with you. And when you do not appreciate that I take my time, my energy to do something, and I'm doing it out of the kindness of my heart, and you want to act like somebody is bothering you or negatively affecting you because they're checking in about whatever, once again, fitness journey, well-being. Are you taking care of yourself? Are you reading at least 30 minutes a day? Are you making sure that you are good? And when you start to show me that you don't appreciate these things, I'm good. I'm perfectly fine. I can pull away from it. Thank you so much. But that's that accountability partner stuff. People want to start whatever is sounding good, whatever's trending. And like I said, if my friend has one, so I think I need one too. No, that's not how that works. I don't get down like that. It doesn't have to be. I'm not a follower. Never have been. So all the what's trending, what's on social media, what's doing this, if your friend is doing it, what looks cool, what's that? I'm good on that. I'm doing what's good for me. And once again, I've been in a space where I felt like I was always making sure everybody else was good. And there were people who were very unappreciative of it. You can be unappreciative. Do it over there. You can be ungrateful. Do it over there. If you have an accountability partner and you all agree to that and you all are actually making things happen, that's a beautiful thing. But those people who want to halfway with it and talk a good game, nah, I'm good. I am good. Be able to hold yourself accountable. Don't look for someone else to do it for you. And that's in anything. Whether it's something you need to fix, whether it was something you did and you just need to apologize or acknowledge what took place, whether you're holding yourself accountable because you are trying to start something new or a goal that you are working towards, be good with holding yourself accountable. Be good with keeping your word. And if you cannot, for whatever reason, if you cannot keep your word, if you cannot keep that commitment, because that's what it is, your word is your bond. Your word is a commitment. And when you don't keep it and don't communicate about it, I view you differently. Things come up, just communicate it. Simply say, hey, I know you and I talked about doing XYZ, but something came up. I'm not able to do it. Whether you're not able to do it at all, you're not able to do it at that particular time, that's fine because things do happen and obstacles are thrown at us. It is life. But when you don't communicate about it, that's when I side eye you. And I ain't even going to give you a whole bunch, but just know that I'm looking at you crazy. But being able to say, you know what? I said that I was going to do something and I'm going to follow through. And if you can't follow through, you simply communicate it and say, hey, something needs to change, whether it's the date and time, whether it's whatever, some money that you were supposed to let somebody borrow, whatever the case, communicate that you are not able to keep that commitment because that honesty is what shows maturity. That communication is what shows maturity. And just being able to hold yourself accountable and say, you know what? Hey, I know I said I was going to do XYZ. I'm not able to. Do we have another resolution? Is there can we, another workaround? It's fine. But when you don't do that, when you don't keep your word, that's where trust issues come in. And you don't hold yourself accountable. That's where the character issues come in. Start to look at you crazy. Because it's like, okay, if you can do it once, are you going to do it again? Or was this just like a slip up, a mistake, a mishap, however you want to refer to it? But hold yourself accountable. And please, 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 please do not try to hold other people accountable when you do not even do the same for yourself. You will not speak with forked tongues. You will not. Not over here. You will not. Do not dare try to hold someone accountable. And then you turn around and you are on your best BS. Please tell me how that works. What is the equation for that? Please do not do that. Because that's a quick, fast way for me to no longer trust you. Do not try to come at me sideways when you're over there. Can't figure out what you're doing from minute to minute, let alone day to day. So be okay with holding yourself accountable. Be okay with saying, you know what? I know I said I had this goal I need to work towards. And let's say you didn't hit that goal when you were supposed to, but let's say it was not outside factors. Let's say it was you. Let's say you were playing around. Like, you know what? I said that I was going to work on this at least 30 minutes to an hour every day, whatever this is. And let's say you didn't do that. But once again, not because some outside factors knocked you off your focus and just like real life things that come up, just you being lazy and saying, I'm not doing it today just because I don't feel like it. What's that? There's all some things we don't feel like doing. But being able to say, you know what, I probably would have made that goal in that time frame that I set, but I didn't because when I said I was going to have my daily task of working on something for 30 minutes to an hour every day, didn't do it. So be able to look yourself in the mirror and say that. Be okay with it. Swallow that pill. No need to harp on it. No need to dwell. But swallow that pill and say, all right, moving forward, I'm going to do this so that I can accomplish that goal. When I released my podcast, before I released it in June, and I was coming up with just like, like a content schedule and thinking about just still going through the different motions and the things I needed to do, researching different things, reading. I said, okay, now I figured out, all right, once I release it, every Tuesday, I'm releasing an episode. I had set that and I said, I'm not going to stop. I said to myself, if for whatever reason I cannot release an episode, I want to make that clear. I didn't want it to just be it goes by and, my audience is sitting here like, oh, like this Tuesday came and nothing was released. If I feel like something were to come up, whether it's I'm just like sick and can't record or whatever, personal stuff comes up in people's lives, whatever the case may be, I said I want to be able to communicate that with my audience. Like, hey, this Tuesday there will be no episode release. But I knew myself, I want to record. I want to release an episode every Tuesday. And I'm holding myself to that. I don't need anybody else to say, hey, you're recording. You're releasing next Tuesday. You're doing this. I'm good. Just recently, I started doing the Dose of Candor Reels. And I want to stay on a schedule of that. Just releasing at least once a week with those. I want to kind of ramp that up too. But just staying on a schedule and holding myself accountable with that. Staying engaged with my audience. Being able to just continue to create quality content. I'm holding myself to that standard. And making sure I'm saying, okay, Barika, even if you don't feel like recording, it was a few episodes back, maybe like a month and a half, where my allergies were kicking my tail. But I was like, okay, I'm not dying. I was congested, was coughing a little bit, but I was like, all right, if this medicine kicks in and I can drink some tea, some water, what have you, I was like, I should be okay to record. I knew it didn't need to be a very lengthy episode, but I knew that I was able to still produce quality content. And once I was done and I got it ready to publish, I said, okay, now I can just kind of take a breather, relax so that I can feel better throughout the rest of the day and the next day. But there are definitely times where I'm just like, whew, I need to work on some things. And I may be tired. I may have a headache. Like I said, my allergies were just going off one day and I had to record. And it was like the day before an episode release. But I needed to record because the days prior to that, my allergies were even worse than that. So it was going to be ugly recording. And nobody wants to hear all of that mess. So I was like, all right, even if I have to take it up to the last minute and record, I still want to release that Tuesday. So, it is what it is. I was like, but it's going to get done. So I gave it a couple days to just kind of let my allergies come back down to earth. I drank some tea. I started recording. I did what I had to do. So be good with holding yourself accountable. Be good with holding others accountable when you know there's something that you need to tell them, communicate with them, whatever, something that needs to be solved, but it's on their end. Don't try to solve and conquer the world. If it's in somebody else's hands, they need to make it right. And like I said, be careful with those accountability partners, because sometimes those are people thinking they just going to tell you what to do. And ma'am, sir, what are you doing for yourself? Don't try to check me over here if you're not even handling your own business. Have a seat. So as always, please continue to follow, like, and share on Instagram at Today's Candor Podcast. And until next time, stay safe and stay candid.